is fantastic. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we're doing an unbelievable dual filling pastry. A classic British dish from centuries ago, and it maybe still is a staple of the agricultural industry in Bedfordshire. We're doing the Bedfordshire clanger. So don't forget, like, share and subscribe, and let's get on with this. Okay, now I'm going to do this in a reverse type way around. We're going to make the pastry last. We're going to do a sweet filling, we're going to do a savory filling, and then we'll do the pastry. Sweet filling is going to be apples, a little bit of cinnamon, some raisins, and I'm going to shove it in the microwave 10 minutes whilst I get on with the savory filling. The savory filling is going to be cubed beef, onions, and a bit of beef gravy. Let's crack on and do it. So I've already put my raisins in there, look, and what we're going to do, we're just going to peel and cube up some apples. Now you can use any sweet filling that you like, but you know, traditionally I would have thought that back in the day, apples, and it'd have been English apples, would have been used, and probably pears and things like that, something that was traditional to the UK. However, we are just using green apples, and these are Granny Smiths. Okay, what we need to do, we don't want the core. Take the core out. And then we're going to cube these apples. Apples in a bowl. Get your apples in there. Okay, what I'll do is I'll crack on with the others, and then we'll get to the next stage. So we're going to go in there then with a couple of tablespoons of sugar. A tiny amount of cinnamon, and then we're going to go in there and make a cornstarch slurry with a little bit of cornstarch and water. Add that, stir in, pinch of salt, microwave 10 minutes. So while we've got that microwave in, then we're just going to start to prep our savoury dishes, and I've got a large onion here, and we just want to dice it up. And we're just going to put that in a bowl as our prep. Okay then, so while our apple mixture is cooking in that microwave, we're just going to crack on with our savoury filling. So pan on, a little bit of oil in with the onions, quick stir around, and we're going in with a pinch of salt, a little bit of salt in there, a little bit of black pepper, and just give those onions just a couple of minutes to turn translucent. Now we don't want to burn the onions. If they get a tinge on, so be it. I'm just going to go in there with a pinch of dried thyme. Now, I'm using thyme in there as a bit of a seasoning because this is a traditional English recipe and thyme would have been available everywhere. And then we just want to be going in there with our chopped beef. Just start to cook that beef in there. Now, because it's English, in with some Worcester sauce. A good glug in there, about half a tablespoon. So just give that a nice little cooking in there. quite a lot of fluid coming out of this onions and beef actually. Little turning over. Smells amazing. I love that smell of beef, onions, thyme, a little bit of pepper. Oh, it's got salt in as well, but you know, you can smell the pepper and everything in there with the thyme. Smells tremendous. I love making pies. Okay, and now this is just beef gravy. It's just gravy powder mixed up with some water. So just give that a little working in there. Now, the fluid and everything that's already in this pan with that little bit of that beef gravy should turn this into a really thick, luscious gravy in there. Now, of course, you can add any savoury filling that you like, you know. It could be bacon and ham or whatever, you know, chicken. I'm doing what I would have thought would have been a traditional type savoury filling for this, which is beef and onions. That's, you know, would have been common in those days. So I need to give this about 7 or 8 minutes just to thicken up and cook in there with that beef. Now with the beef clanger that I'm making, we actually want a thick gravy sauce inside our clanger. We want that moisture in there when we bite through with the pastry, but I don't want a runny liquid which runs out of the clanger. It's got to be quite solidified. So we're just going to cook this down till it thickens up a little bit, and that beef's going to be tender. It'll be perfect for inside our clanger. Now I would say that is about perfect for me. That has got just enough fluid in there to keep it really moist and give that little bit of gravy with that beef when we bite into our clanger. Let's crack on with the pastry. Okay, we're making traditional suet pastry. HYSA is the brand, I'm not going to hide it, there it is. HYSA is the brand that we all use in the UK, so it's easy to put together if you can get hold of HYSA. What we got there, we got some flour in there. We're going to go in with some salt. And then we're going to go in with our butter. Now my butter has been in the freezer and I've grated it. So that's going in there. And my suet has actually been in the fridge, so it's quite cold. So let's get that in there. And all we're going to do is bring that together and make some like breadcrumbs like we would with normal pastry. So just gently rub it through your fingers. Now if you had a food processor, you could chuck it all in a food processor and whiz this up within a few seconds. So there we go, that's about got it. That's a nice light, airy pastry based mix. We just need to add our fluid now and bring it all together. Okay, I've got 1 egg in there. We're just going to give that a little quick beating up. It just makes it a bit easier when we get it in with our pastry base, our dry ingredients. Now it doesn't matter how you get it in, it's got to go in. And we are using water. You can use milk if you want, but you know, water would be a little bit more traditional, I think, back in the day. There's already enough goodness in here. And all we need to do now is just bring all that together. And we just want a nice dough ball bringing together, that's it. So in we go. A little bit more water as we go along. Now this pastry has to be moist enough but not soaking. So that should about got it. That should be about the right amount in there. And we just need to bring all that together into a dough ball. So let's just work that together in there. Now I would say that that is about a perfect pastry dough ball there. We're lucky, aren't we? You know, I've made so many pies over the years that putting pastry together is not difficult at all. We'll just give that a little minute in there, you know, not too long, just let it relax a little bit, and then we're going to roll it out and make our clangers. Just cut it, eyeball it into 2 balls. And that will be our 2 clangers. Done. Okay, that's had a couple of minutes. What we need to do, a little bit of flour on there. And our dough ball. Now, we need to try and keep this a little bit oblong. Okay, so we got this huge oblong pastry, and now we need to put the savoury filling in and our sweet filling. Now you want to come in the middle. So we want to come in about in the middle, roughly like that, and leave an end here because we're going to squash it down. And then what you can do actually, so I've just taken a little bit of pastry there, and I'm just going to put that like that. Now it's not going to make much of a difference, to be quite fair. And then we want to take our microwaved apple mixture and put that in there. Now the thing is, you will probably have about 2/3, 1/3, 2/3 savoury, 1/3 sweet, but it doesn't matter if you're making it for yourself. And then we need to roll that over. So we want that going over there. And I'm going to bring this over here like that. And I'm also going to fold in the end like that. Now you can see what I've done. I've made like a parcel, and I'm going to turn it over so the sealed side is down on the tray. It just makes it easier. Put our clanger on our tray. Like that. That is our clanger on there. So we'll just make the other one, and then we're going to egg wash it. And then what we need to do is over the top with some egg wash. Okay, that's going to go in the oven. I'm using the air fryer oven today. Now I'm going to bob it in the air fryer at about 160 degrees. If you're using a conventional oven, about 180 degrees, that would be fine. So let's get our clangers in there. In we go. Now we want to be hitting this for 160 degrees. $160, and we're going to hit the time for about, let's hit the time for 26 minutes and see what happens. Press start. Let it do its thing. Okay, job done. Oh, look at those. Just look at those. That is how to make Bedfordshire clanger. Amazing. All we need to do now is let it cool down and we'll cut a slice. Okay, we'll let it cool down just a little bit. It's still hot, you know. Traditionally, this would be served cold in the fields with the agricultural workers. But you know, I want to cut this open. So we got two sides of the pie. One's going to be fruit, whichever end, probably this end, and this end's probably going to be meat. So let's cut in there and have a look. Oh, that is fantastic. That is really high quality. So all we got to do now is cut in to the fruit side. Oh, oh, oh. Look at that. That is amazing.